Hey guys, still battling away here. I think I'm going to make a very loose defend here, am I? 25, 6, 30, yeah, I think I am. I think just the ability to make with the 4, 5, 6 straight and the flush as well is three-way against a min raise. It's very close, I mean, yeah. And small c-bet up there. So we're still chip leader in that top right one when I left off before we were. And yeah, we've just been plugging away. We've still got the big chip lead that we had before. Probably even extended the margin a little bit. And mostly through players just making mistakes, nothing too fancy. We actually lost a big flip before. Ace King against Jacks, so we could have had more, could have had over 100,000, but yeah, I mean, we're getting set up pretty nicely for a final table, because there's only 16 players left, so. And bottom right, we're obviously crazy short, and we're deep in it's just an 11 turbo. So, only a K up top, and the 320 Wednesday 100 grand. We are still hovering around the start stack. Haven't really been able to get anything going, and hopefully that changes soon. And the big 2750, we're hanging in there. We are actually in the bubble now, so good thing I bought that lobby up, because we don't want to. This is kind of really annoying. I guess I could have taken the Jack 5 suited last hand. Jack 6. I would have lost anyway as it is, but yeah, I mean, the problem is now is that we're probably going to have to call with M2 with anything in the big blind. But so be it. I mean, when you're comparing being able to jam Jack 6 from second position, Jack 6 suited, compared to calling any 2 in the big blind, I'm probably going to take the Jack 6 in this sort of tournament where the average stack is low, because, hey, they may actually fold sometimes. And so this is a spot I thought would happen, and we can't quite fold because of the odds and just the situation. But, you know, it's not too bad. I mean, he could have, you know, King Jack, King 10, lots of hands because he's short. And, you know, we're live. Well, I mean, we're more than live when we flop a straight. I mean, live wire. So it worked out okay, obviously, but... Yeah, I mean, Jack 6 suited has a pair of... Was it Jack 5 or Jack 6? 7. Anyway, they're both about 7. Yeah, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty close. If you would take Jack 6 suited with M2 from second when you're a 7-handed, or whether you would wait for the big blind and take any 2. I mean, neither are very, you know, neither is a good option, but it's just trying to pick the right time to go for it, really, isn't it, when you get that short? But hey, we're M3.5 now, so it sounds very short, but it's actually 14 of 18 because the average stack, what we call the Q, is so low. Got a feeling the audio might have gone a bit bung here, guys, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to stop for a minute and just see what happens with these queens. Well, it turns out the audio was actually working, so that's good, because it's got a strange line like it wasn't working. So quick pause there, guys, back into it. And obviously top left queens was good, and bottom right, We get the ace king short, and we managed to win against the ace jack. So we have popped up like a daisy there. And 6 of 17. And that's just the thing about these mini turbos. When I say mini, I mean the stack size. Yeah, I mean just a couple of little hands and booyah. And don't want to talk too soon because we could bust just as quick. But hey, we'll on a little rush here, see what we can do, because we do need to try and save this session, because it hasn't been a good session. M4 is jammed UTG bottom left, and I just think that A7 is probably not quite what we're looking for here. I'll probably take ace 9 suited, and well, I mean, it obviously depends a lot on the player, but if you look at it from his shoes, he's looking for a PN of 32, right? Which means if he's jamming correctly, he's going to be jamming stuff like, you know, ace 10, ace 7 suited up. He could jam like a queen 9 suited and stuff like that. So, I think I'm going to fold up there. You know, we really want a bit of a buffer on that range. So, I'll probably take ace 10 suited, actually, not ace 9. I'll probably take ace 10 suited, and I'd take ace jack off, and king queen suited I'd probably take, and king jack suited, and I'd probably take pairs like 5s or 6s up. Well, 6s up, I guess. Something like that. Yep, I think I'm just going to shove here. It's only a PN of 5 effective, and king 6 is 9. And we are once again, well, we were alive wire with a couple of live cards, but the dream ended when the ace flopped, really, didn't it? But not too much to do there other than just jam and pray and then get a trophy. He threw a trophy at us, and we got an egg as well. So it wasn't all that bad in the end. This bottom right, you know, I'm just thinking if we can get any leverage here, and if you can steal in this type of spot, the chips are very valuable, but I just don't think we can really. I mean, there's very short stacks around us. I mean, it's just awkward. You know, it's very awkward. Raise and not call off. It's kind of getting a bit messy, so it kind of limits us a little bit, and this is the sort of spot I'm talking about. I mean, I guess we could raise here and fold if these guys jam, and well, actually fold if anyone jams, really. It's a little bit, you know, this guy's only M sort of 3 though, so it's pretty gross if we raise fold to him. I don't even know if we could. And the problem with raise calling off is that it does actually, even though he's only M3, it actually kind of cripples us. You know, M7, we've got a little bit of time here. But you know, if we go down M4, it's going to be panic stations. So interesting that he decided to take 9-10 there. And I think that's just a situation where a guy's alarm clock has gone off. Some of these guys have an alarm clock where it just, when it rings, they're just like, their brain explodes, and they're just like, well, I'm all in, it's time, let's do this. And it sounds kind of weird, but you know, it's actually pretty common in this buy-in that people have the alarm clock. And it's hard to explain, but just randomly after tons of hours of good play, they just decide suddenly they're going to just donk off. And yeah, I mean, it's good when it happens, but well, when they don't get there, of course, but yeah. Good spot top right. The big blind's pretty short. He could jam on us, somewhat aggressive. We've got the guys behind who are a little bit handcuffed by the fact that the big blind's short, but still could pop us with a little 3-bet. Could get a little squeeze going now. And see if we can work some magic with the ladies tonight. I think I'm going to just cap our... Well, am I? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go capping our range here and say, hey, we give up. Wave the white flag and see if he wants to take the bait. At the same time, obviously, we get a little bit of pot control. Nothing wrong with a little bit of PC. And he has fired pretty small, so that's good. That's kind of what we wanted, because we keep his white range wide, and at the same time we protect ourselves from times that we are completely crushed. So have a little tank and think, like we have ace-jack here, or ace-queen, and now we check. And if he bets again and we call, I think that the jig is kind of up, that we kind of look like we have 9s, 10s, or jacks. Maybe ace-8, ace-7. I don't think there's too much value to get here. Well, is there? Well, maybe there is, actually. He's probably going to call with any pair if we bet small. But at the same time... Ooh. Yeah, actually, I think we can bet here, eh? He might cry call with... like 5s or 6s, or if he has 10s, which is what he had. You know, it's a little bit annoying there to... Oh, we're going to defend here. I'm going to defend here. It's pretty ugly, but this guy's really stealing 50%. Raise first in from the button is... Well, it's only 1 of 2 though, so... But he's raising 7 of 21, 3 of 6, 1 of 2, yeah. So he's raising a lot. It's a little bit gross because of the way the stacks are set up. If we get this sort of flop, it's pretty hard not to stack off. But I think given the pot odds against a guy raising what looks to be 50% of hands at M7, even though it's a little bit awkward with the negative implied odds, because now we're probably stacking off with second best pair, I think that it's probably okay. So we just have to decide if there's any merit to calling. And I don't really think there is. I mean, we've said he's wide, and we probably have the best hand. You know, if he's got a 10 or king 8 or whatever, it's just bad luck. He might get in like 7-8, ace-5, jack-queen. He might have clubs. He might spaz out. So it's not like we can't get action from worse, because we are quite short. And yeah, I mean, it's just what it is. I think if we're a little bit deeper, I would have folded. If we're like M9 or 10, then it's a little bit dangerous because the negative implied odds are a little bit greater. And then if we're deeper again, like M20 or 30, then I may go back to calling, because now we have a stack size where we can, control things a little bit better by not necessarily, losing all of our chips if we flop middle pair, obviously, when we're deep. And so it's kind of that interesting dynamic where when we're very short, we don't mind calling because we're getting great pot odds, and the pot odds are sort of dictating what's happening, and we're against a wide range. As we get a little bit deeper, the pot odds are still obviously the same, they're still good, but the negative implied odds, if we actually hit and get ourselves in a tricky situation, are kind of bad because we have a stack depth where we're not so deep that we can escape. And so we could be losing a lot of chips. And if you go a step further than that and then get much deeper, now we go back to being able to call because we're against a wide button stealer, and we can control things post. We might call a couple of streets, we might even get funky and try some check raises and barrels and all the good stuff that you can do when you have a deep stack. And I think we're all in here, aren't we? Yes. Bug out. I think I'm just going to do a little raise here. And yeah, I mean, 3, 4. Whoa. Yeah, I think that raise is okay. I could have made it slightly smaller, I think. This bottom right one is it's 1300 for first, 4 of 9, so it's not really anything stressful. But I'm just thinking in terms of ICM, if there's any consideration, but not really. I mean, there's not really too much to think about here, especially not with ace-king suited, obviously, but I'm just thinking, how ICM is going to dictate the play here. Not too much at this stage. I mean, the pay jumps are, well, I mean, I guess they're decent, but wow. 3.5x UTG, and we have King Queen off, and we're against M11. 3.5x M11 UTG. Yeah, I think I'm gonna fold there. We are still 1 of 16. Is that right? Sometimes it takes a while to update. There's a couple of short stacks out there too, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, we're dominated a bit with the King Queen there, I think. We only have 178 hands on the guy. He doesn't really look like he's loose. You know, he looks kind of tight. And he's made a big raise UTG, so I think it's a little bit tricky to work with that. 12, 24, 630. I'm going to try something really weird here. I'm going to re-click it. And the reason why I'm doing that is because this guy now decides he's going to jam. He might get scared and fold. As it is, he didn't get scared. And he just folded. But that's fine, because now we have this guy. We get good leverage from the stack. We have initiative. Obviously not a great flop. But we pick up the pot. So it's just a little bit of a sneaky one there, I guess. Ace check suited is 3 and 1 is 4. Wow. The same sort of thing here, I think. You know what? I might just flat here. I'm really kind of close on this one because this guy's been kind of tight. One of the benefits of flatting there is that there's a lot of stacks behind us sort of have that sort of jam size. This guy, this guy, this guy. And we can probably just flat him and then call a jam with this hand. Wouldn't be pretty by any means, but I think I have to bet here because I think I just want to give him chips. That's probably the main reason. He hasn't got enough. I'm going to give him some more. He's probably got like tens a lot, I think, here. He may have ace king. Wow, that's kind of like the card that I wanted to barrel on. I don't know if he could check calls with ace king. He might. He looks like he's gone into damage control mode, so he could have eights or something like that. So we've got ourselves in this sort of ugly spot where we have to fire again now and just close our eyes. He could even have ace queen and be trapping some of the time or some sort of monster because he is kind of tight. So he's definitely given the illusion that he's kept his range. The question is, has he really capped it or not? And I think we can fold out, probably like tens down, maybe. Jacks, obviously we've got a jack blocker, so he shouldn't really have jacks. I think if he's got tens down there, he's probably going to fold. And I think a lot of players would play this queen high board with sevens, eights, nines, and ace-6 by check calling flop, and then probably check folding on the king. If the king had been any other card, I would actually have checked, literally any other card. Jack, and ace, a 10. A 10, maybe just a king and a 10 are my double barreling cards there. But I think the thing about betting the flop is he may have ace, king, or ace, jack and just give up because, it sounds kind of odd, but I think in this 320 buy-in, and I don't have notes on him, and the supernova status doesn't really mean anything because there's still tons of fish that have supernova status. Let me think here. M5, Queen 9. How do we feel about it? Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. I think we're going to take it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just think that he might just have given up a little bit too often, and we can fold out sort of the same hand or ace king. I think what I was saying is in this type of bigger buy-in tournament, if this guy's normally a low stakes grinder, he might get sort of a little bit, kind of scared, and just kind of overly careful. And so some players will just, they just play their hand sort of a little bit face up like that, check flop, and sort of give up a little bit easy because they're sort of getting starting to get deep in a 320 buy-in tournament, which is kind of a big deal to some people. I don't know this guy. I mean, maybe he's good. No idea. Maybe he flopped top set. It kind of looked like he may have had a big hand like that. Ace, yeah, Ace King as well, though, I guess, is very likely. Yeah, shove it, I guess. Yeah, so, I mean, it was a little bit annoying because it was a bit of a spew, and we could have checked and tried to river the nuts. But you know, just the way it goes. And bottom left, that's just the way it goes. Would have been a good pot, that one, actually, because we are starting to get deep in that too, and that's almost 6,000 up top, and we're 84 of 120, so it's quite a good tournament. I highly recommend that one. One of the best tournaments you can play is the big $27.50. It's a fantastic tournament. You know, quite affordable for even the modest bankroll, and yeah, super value. Even if you had a small roll and couldn't quite afford that one, that's probably the one that I would perhaps use to take my shot. You know, if you were giving yourself a couple of shots during the week to, you know, normally play 5 and 11s, but you want to play a bigger tournament, this is probably the one I would recommend. Top left, nitty fold. Guy's only opening, oh, looks like he's actually only opening the nuts. Yeah. 21, 31, yep, we can look like we're 3-betting here, so 56. I'm going to make it 64.92. I think it gives him a little bit of room to shove on us. This is a spot bottom right there where I mean, obviously we had nada, so we're just folding. But it's just worth sort of noting that the ICM in that sort of spot is going to start to play a role where we might have to tighten up our calling range. You know, if someone jams on us like that with 7 left. Yeah. And we lose another. And it's just me, or is that a big jam? That is a big jam. And bottom right, I will take this one. Not now. That's a huge jam. Huge. It's 7. No, it's not. It's not that big. Wow. Wow. That's right on. I mean, I would probably take that. Could probably argue to take that. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. You know, we could have raised it up ourselves, but wow, 10 balls. 10 balls. And just going to shove. I mean, you don't want to be, excuse me, 3, 4. Yeah, the end of a dream. The end of a dream. Couldn't, well, we still have a couple of BB. Let's work it. Let's work it up. Yeah, I mean, top left was a weird one where I could have isolated. I could have folded. I decided to just, I don't know how we got folds on the bottom right there, especially from the big stack. And now we have M3. I think we can actually fold it. Wow, this is going crazy, this hand, hasn't it? It's a $22 turbo. These bananas could have anything. 27 seconds on the old time bank. Gonna need it. Let me see. Snap jam, snap jam, snap calls. Everybody's snapping. What are we up against here? Ace 4 and Ace 10. Are we either up against Ace 4 and Ace 10? The problem is this guy's, you know, the pot odds are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, but I think we can just make a very, very good fold there against the Ace 5. But you know, you can see that guy clearly had an aneurysm. But I mean, he was so short. What am I talking about? He's always gonna roll with that hand. And Ace Jack looks like the one for us. And come on, Ace Jack. Come on, Ace Jack. Come on, Ace Jack. Do it, do it. It's interesting this guy's tanking. He's probably got a borderline hand he doesn't know what to do with. Well, that's very good, because not only do we normally have the best hand, but, well, I mean, we have fold equity, but we also can get called by a lot of worse hands here. 10 jack, ace deuce, king 8 suited. Chip in a chair, that's what they say, chip in a chair. Well, ace jack again. They are the supply lines are open. The supply lines are open. And we are going to just continue to accumulate here. We are back up now. Popped back up like a daisy. The thing about a daisy is you chop a daisy down and a few days later you don't know how, it's back. Daisies just pop up quite quickly. And I feel that's very reminiscent of the way we're playing at the moment. It's very daisy-like. 5, 6. Very close. Yeah. Very close, not close, close. Ooh, I might donk bet here. See how he feels about it. He loves it. I'm going to bet again here. I'm going to make it 769. We've got a lot of outs, hopefully. He probably would have shoved a flush draw on the flop. And I think in that spot, a lot of players would just call with just, ace king. And so I'm just going to barrel it off. And he might have like just a 7 or something and call, but that's just bad luck. Just the way the cookies crumble sometimes. And ace 8, I think, was probably pretty standard, to overuse the word. He definitely looks like he's thinking about heroing on the top left, but he couldn't find the hero in himself. Pocket 3s down here is an interesting one. 12, 20, 26, 5, M3, 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 M3. I think we can actually fold because of the ICM. I'm going to fold it. In normal play, I would definitely call. I would definitely be calling there. But I think with the ICM, we can actually fold that hand, and we get to take this hand, which is completely fine at M3 on the button with an ace. And king 7, yeah, I'm going to have to go for this one. And ace jack. Ace jack, it's like every hand is ace jack. And there's a chance someone might just spaz now and go, no, aces up is just jamming too much. I've had enough of this shit. I'm going to call him with ace 8 suited. Or pocket kings. I mean, either or. Is there any more jacks left? Or an ace? Is there an ace left? There seems to be one ace left there. Oh my lordy. Yep and yep. Oh man, why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to myself? This is so annoying. Maybe could have checked. That's why. We maybe could have checked, but I think if you cap your range like that, these guys, they're not going to fold. And it is ICM time, so we get pretty good leverage. Top right, pretty bad board. Yeah. Yeah, that ace-jack is annoying because I probably should have just shoved it. I mean, we were kind of deep after. Not deep, but, if it goes like call and all in, we can happily fold. The thing is we have M 8.5, so it's kind of a big jam, but we're only 5-handed, so the effective stacks, well, we just lost someone. Sorry, guys, you just, well, we both just missed that because I didn't see what happened either, but apparently someone just was ejected from the stadium, which is fine for us because it means we've somehow popped up to 4th, which is 500 odd. Come on, have 9s one time. No, don't even have 9s, have 8s. Because I want to have all our straight cards. It's a 9-10 jack flop. Oh, where's a 10? 10 ball. Yeah, we don't even get... we can't even squeeze into 3rd there, unfortunately. And there's a pretty pretty bad call with king queen there. Obviously a guy who just has no idea about ICM, and the ace jack is well, I mean the ace jack's pretty marginal as well. They're both actually probably folds, but you know I don't expect these guys in an $11 tourney to be thinking too much about ICM. Yeah, the king queen m6. Yeah, that's a pretty easy fold. King queen, and once he isolates, wait, go back. Oh yeah, that's an easy fold with ace jack too, isn't it? 6, 12, 24 and that. What's he isolating here? Let me just run through and see this again here. See it all again. Yeah, there was 24 in there, so he's jammed like 24. Wow, he's jammed like M13 or 14 or something, right? Wow, I mean that's a big jam. Yeah, I mean ace jack is pretty close, I guess. Ace queen I would call. Ace jack off was I think it's a fold. I'd be pretty happy to fold ace jack there, I think. And I'm sure ICM would say that probably ace jack and ace queen is a fold, but I don't know if I'm going to fold ace queen. Just because it's kind of for the tournament. You know, it's kind of to win the tournament. Like if you win that hand, you're going to win the tournament pretty much because you're going to have, you know, 1.2 million or something stupid in chips, and the other guy's got 200k. So, and ace queen just should be the best hand a lot. So it's kind of close. I don't know if I can control myself there with ace queen, but I mean we can. Yeah, we could always just plug it into ICMizer, I guess. 40. 40. I guess I'm going to fold, am I? I'm going to call. I think I'm just going to fold that. These guys usually start out pretty nitty, and they are raising into the big stack, which you know is something they might think about. Maybe might be thinking ambitiously there. So somehow we've still got the chip lead, even though we ran into a bit of trouble before. This is a pretty close spot here. Yeah, I think I'm going to raise here. Are we going to raise here? Ew. It's 7-9. I'm just trying to think how much we would want to make it here. 7-9, 7-8. He has to work half the time. If he jams, we can fold. Yeah, I think I'm going to raise it up there. I just think this guy's opening. I mean, he's opening like 30% plus from there. And so I don't want to snap fold though. Now he jams. I think I have to think about it for a bit. He looks like he's opening a fair bit from there. And it's a pretty good spot to open. It's a pretty good spot to open. I mean, these guys have been tight, and this guy's just got this leverage stack. You get great leverage again. So, I mean, I would probably be opening there with like anything, you know, any two. I'm not saying he's necessarily going to be thinking like that, but I think that we definitely put a lot of pressure on him because the start of the final table, you know, he doesn't want to be the goose that busts first. And the thing that we need to remember too is that even though we are chip leader, I think that we need to take all these opportunities that we can get because the blinds are going to go up pretty quick, and we're not that far clear, you know. I mean, there's an 80, 63, 63, 42, 40. You know, all these guys here can easily, you know, pass by us pretty quickly. And so I definitely want to stay active. You don't want to sort of say, oh, well, I'm chip leader here. I'm just going to knit it up and just coast my way down to like 5th or 6th. Because what can happen is you can get to 6th and all of a sudden you're the short stack. So I prefer to try to maintain here, wield our stack as effectively as we can, and 5, 1, 6. I think I'm just going to jam that. And try and build the stack, you know, try and build it even more and put pressure on these guys, you know. So this guy defends really wide from what we can see from his HUD, so no surprise there. And I'm just going to proceed with a are we going to proceed with a small C bet? Yeah, I think we are, just to keep it clean. Because it's a little bit hard if we check any bets turn on most turn cards, other than A7 or 9, or maybe a king as well, I guess. We're probably going to be, it'd be hard to call. So as called, Jack, Queen, 10, Jack, a 9. He could be slow playing a king some of the time. I guess he could even have ace high some of the time. So I'm just starting to think now on the river if he bets what we're going to do. Because he can have a lot of combinations of 10 Jack and Jack Queen. I mean, that's 32 combos right there. And so, well, I mean, that makes it a bit easier. Probably can't fold. See how much he bets, though. Yeah, see, the thing is for that price is that 7 to win 24 and then 7 to win 28. Yeah, I mean, we only need to be probably right about 23% of the time here. We need to be good for this to be profitable. And, you know, even if we didn't hit the 7, I think if you think that he's always calling with the gut shots, and maybe even sometimes floating with some other goosey hand, but Queen 10, 10 Jack, Jack Queen. Yeah, I mean, there's just too many. I mean, of course he can have King 10. He can have maybe value bet Queen 9. But I just don't think we can quite fold against that player who's defending pretty wide. If we presume he's peeling gut shots flop, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure he would be. So, yeah. I mean, if you think he can have any king, then there's 12 combinations of kings. If he calls with King 2 up, yeah, so like, what do we, let's just say he folds King 2. I mean, that's getting sort of pretty loose. So King 3 and King 2, let's say fold. So King 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, re-raises Ace King, obviously. So we've got like 9 combos times 12. So this is how often he's going to have a king. Well, actually, it'd be a little bit less because King 9's discounted a little bit. So it's 108. And 9s, he's probably going to value bet 9, 10 plus, which is another like 9 and Ace 9, except we have an Ace blocker. So 9, 10 is probably like 12 and then 24, 36, and then is it 8 maybe? So maybe 42. This is pretty rough, guys, but around about 150 value betting combos, I would say. 150 value betting combos, and let's just say 16, 32, 48. Even if we just say he calls with 10 Jack, Jack Queen, and Queen 10 on the flop, and not even put in some goosey hands like, you know, Ace 4 where he just thinks Ace High is the best hand, and then decides he's going to bet river like Donk might and like he probably would. Even if we just put those hands in, that's 48 combos. So 48 divided by 198 means that he has, you know, combos that we beat 24% of the time. And I'm just going to jam here. And, you know, we said that we only needed to be right about, you know, sort of 23 or 24. I think we said 22, something like that. And so I think that the call was okay. And especially if you consider that he could have some other goosey hands. And we did hit the 7, so, you know, once in a while, maybe he even just bets like 4s or something because he just thinks it's the best hand always and just decides to bet it without really stopping and thinking what West will call. You know, less experienced players do that a lot. So hopefully I've convinced you by now that it wasn't a bad call, but I'm sure there's still a few skeptics out there. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty close, but I think I would have called even without the 7, to be honest, against that bet size. Obviously, if he bets bigger, you know, we have to be right a little bit more often. And I think he sort of bet the sort of size that he might if he was just putting in a little bluff as well, so potentially. And yeah, King 5 off though, you know, it's obviously a very bad defend in this situation. I mean, we are raising wide, but with the final table, ICM dynamic, the pressure, final table pressure, it's definitely not a hand that you just want to be getting involved with out of position. But pocket sevens, yeah, I think we're going to roll with that one. This guy's got a decent range from here. Looks like about 20% from there. And he's got the old Queen 4. He's pulled out the old Queen 4 suited on us. It's a bit cheeky. Supernova Elite style. Yeah, I mean, I thought he had 20%-ish, obviously a bit wider. And we're pretty short, so I mean, the call's not that bad, but it just kind of looks funny when you see it. 5 and 6. We can't quite fold here because we're getting a gazillion to 1. We're only M2. With any luck, everyone else folds here. That'd be just brilliant if, somehow we get folds around and, we get this guy. Wow, the 4. Well, it's actually not too bad because there's a bit more extra money in there, except he flopped the king. That's obviously not that good when that happens. Yeah, I mean, M2 in that spot, even if he showed us kings, we would have done the same thing. Especially if they showed us kings and 4s. We had a good chance to get a decent pot there. Considering we were only M2, there was just so much dead money out there. And, yeah. Yeah, so now we've got a bit more time with less tables. I might actually just rebalance these tables a bit first. And yeah. So it's a pity about the Wednesday 320. And that's a tournament that's got some satellites, but I think they're mostly $3 triple turbos and $3.30 triple turbos and $22 turbos rebuys. They're both rebuys, obviously. So I didn't play them, but I think they are actually decent value. I think there's, I think they're good value. So definitely something to think about. And, if we were still in hardcore grind mode, we are in hardcore grind mode, but if we were still trying to build our roll up, if we hadn't built our roll as far as we have in the, how long has it been now? 18 days. So coming up on 3 weeks soon. Then, I would have been definitely, wouldn't be playing the 320 buy-in and would be focusing potentially on the satellites if we had the roll for it. But we, of course, have been doing pretty well, so we're not quite in that position where we need to play those smaller tournaments, and we can play things like, this, the 2750 and 55 top right and 22 turbs top left. I mean, these tournaments all offer a lot of value anyway, and as I was saying before, the big 2750 is just superb value. It's just one of the softest tournaments around when you consider there's over 5k up top for first, so definitely a tournament to be on the lookout for, and if you can afford to use to try to build your roll, even just cashing in it, just making the money is often not that hard because you often get gifted with a lot of presents by players making mistakes, which is always nice. It just makes things a bit easier. So on that note, guys, just going to pause for a minute and take a break. Be right back.